You're not half bad. You killed my father. Like father, like son.
Welcome to the motherfucker. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Alycia Baumgardner's official statement following the melee this past weekend at the Carano vs. Rousey fight, saying, "When your purpose is to elevate, there will always be people who attempt to pull you down to the level from which they operate. The situation that occurred on Saturday was unprovoked."
You remember like in the Rocky movie, when they were about, and it was, no, don't fight here, don't fight here. Don't waste that money. Don't waste that money.
That's all I'm saying. I'm trying to back up. I see Pat Booth right there too on my ball. I'm telling you.
You see, I saw it too. You can see the ride.
And entirely consistent with the individual involved, while attending Most Valuable Promotions' inaugural MMA event as a guest. "I was physically assaulted without provocation. This behavior follows a continued pattern from someone who has publicly celebrated other fighters' brain injuries, initiating one-sided altercations at press conferences and consistently displaying hostility towards other women."
I was feeling it. Yeah, you go in, and I swear the lady on stepped in like, no. When he felt around it, man, I was feeling that, bro.
That conduct is unacceptable and should not be tolerated in any professional sport. This behavior reflects a repeated pattern of hostility, chaos, and attention-seeking conduct that continues to embarrass women's sports. This situation has and will continue to be handled legally and professionally.
Here come the lawyers.
And that's when she struck out.
They got me out of prison. You talking shit? Boom! Oh, shit! Wait, hold up! I knew it was coming, bro. And I felt it, but you know what's crazy? I didn't really think she was going to
I didn't either.
I think she was going to go there.
I didn't think she was
going to go there. I thought maybe she was going to shove her, maybe.
Right.
She like, nah. Pop! We don't catch this look right now. Dude. Hey, but you know what people not talking about, though? Hey, you got a chin. She ate that little.
My focus remains far beyond individuals who lack discipline, professionalism, and self-control inside or outside the ring. I have spent my career representing myself, my family, and the sport of boxing with class, integrity, and respect. I will continue to do so. I want to congratulate MVP and Netflix on an event that continues to raise the ceiling for women's combat sports, and I look forward to continuing to being a positive force in the evolution of the sport. How could she say that the attack was unprovoked when in the thick of it, you can hear her say that she'll beat her ass?
Hey, get out of the way. I want to get in there. No. World star.
Not right now.
I'll referee.
It's what a lot of people find themselves asking. Recording artist Little Duval said, "How are you going to say I'll whoop your ass right now, then get slapped and press charges?" When that constitutes a threat, and an active threat can constitute assault. Did Alycia not bring this on herself? And I don't think so, because by the time she says what she says, Claressa's already over there, already in her face. You want to pay attention to certain details that give it away who started this. Pay attention to what Claressa Shields is saying, what she's talking about. Her relationship with Papoose. That's what she was arguing about?
What's in your way?
So it sounds like Claressa caught wind of some comments that Alycia Baumgardner made about her tryst with Papoose, who still was a married man at the time they started fooling around, except that those comments Alycia made aren't recent. They're not recent at all. They're from December of 2024.
At the end of the day, if that's a married man, you fucking with a married man at the end of the day. I don't give a fuck if he has a woman. If he has a marriage that is on paper to a woman, why are you messing with a married man? Regardless of what the situation is, it's just like that shit to me would be off limits, right? Claressa is a whole world champion, okay? Multi-world champion. She has no kids. She just had a movie come out about her life, and you're entertaining bullshit like that. At this point, she don't have nobody guiding her in the right direction. She don't have no good friends around her to let her know what she's doing is some bullshit.
And this is what Claressa Shields was going off about at this past weekend's MVP show. But you're telling me you're losing it. You're flying off the handle over some comments from over a year ago.
That's definitely what Claressa was going off about. That's what she was talking about.
But don't you guys think it's a little bit out of place to bring this up after the fact at the MVP after party?
I want you to pay attention to something.
In the image seen here, you can see that the confrontation is just starting as the crowd is not yet formed that was circling both Claressa and Alycia. Security has already arrived, they're on the scene, and what you'll notice is Alycia Baumgardner is in a seating area with her back to the sofas, likely where she was when Claressa walks over.
You can see that Claressa has her back to the entry of the seating area as there are no sofas behind her.
Fueling my suspicions that it was Claressa Shields that walked over with the intention of starting some shit with Alycia, so that by the time the cameras are rolling and things are being said, the conflict has already started.
And what is she walking over about? Some comments from over a year ago that Alycia made? You want to argue about this now?
So what do you presume to do? Get into a shouting match with everybody that has something to say? Get into a fisticuffs?
If that's how you want to go about things, then you shouldn't even be allowed to be around people.
That would make her a public nuisance. But some people choose not to see it. A Twitter user who goes by the name John Marshall said, "Hey fellas, you know when you tell someone in the streets that I'm gonna whoop your ass? That's a threat, fellas."
And what do you think Claressa was doing by walking over there to that seating area? What do you think she was there to do?
John continued, "A threat can be taken to the police the same way that an assault could be. Y'all need to stop the shit, man."
Here's the shit.
Here's the thing. They're not in the street. They're in the VIP section of an MVP after party.
That's where they are.
And if I am to play devil's advocate, irrespective of what one person might have said to another, it's the other that took it to the next level. Alycia may have had some choice words for Claressa the same way Claressa's got choice words for her, but Claressa's the one that took it to the next level. And what the fuck was she doing there anyway?
Now, this is what I think happened. I think Claressa Shields went there with the intention of starting a fight, starting some shit, because arguing about some over a year-old comments that Alycia made about you fooling around with a married man?
You got nothing better to do and nothing better to think about that you've still got an axe to grind over that? You bring it up now? No, you used that as an excuse to create a scene.
To start an argument.
To make everything about yourself like you always do, and that's what I think happened. She starts this shit, then makes it out like she's just defending herself, when she's the one who started with Jake Paul. She's the one who started with Keith Thurman and Rolly Romero. She's the one who started with Cameron Giles. So I don't have a doubt in my mind she's the one started this, using some comments from over a year ago.
That was her excuse to go there and start some shit.
Doesn't fool people. It doesn't fool me. Or a Twitter user who goes by the name Heart America, who said exactly, while they're mad on Shields' behalf for what is her trash behavior, they also know for a fact that this costed her money. Lawsuit or not, she and Remy's husband were desperate to get noticed by Netflix and ESPN, and know that this ban now blocks that. I'm not the only one that thinks so, the only one that thinks that Claressa Shields was there clout chasing, because for all of the disparaging comments she's made about MVP, its co-founders, and its fighters, she goes out of her way to be at those events, because she's a clout chaser.
So what's everybody so upset about? That Claressa can no longer attend events from a promotion that she doesn't even like?
Is that it? Or is it that she can no longer clout chase that promotion, or its fighters?
Bingo.
Because there's been more talk about this melee this past weekend than any of Shields' last 2, 3, or 4 fights.
My thoughts on MVP banning Claressa Shields from their events and Alycia Baumgardner potentially seeking legal action. If you saw my previous video, you'll know that I think that MVP should have banned Claressa from their shows a long time ago. The moment she started taking shots at the promotion and its co-founder, there's no need to keep extending her any professional courtesies. If anything, this enables her uncouth and ratchet behavior because she thinks she can just keep doing this and get away with it. So they were right to ban her, and they should have done it sooner. Now, what I don't agree with is Alycia making this a legal matter. I don't think she does it out of fear.
I think she's doing it out of spite. I think she's doing it out of pettiness. I think that she wants to hit Claressa where it hurts the most, in the pocket. You're trying to do the Housewives of Atlanta thing, being as toxic as possible, so why shouldn't it cost you some money?
You're trying to do the love and hip-hop thing.
You're a fucking cornball. And by all rights, you shouldn't have even been there on Saturday, but you were. So if you want to start some shit...
Start some shit, bitch.
Alycia's gonna hit you in the pocket. Where? It hurts the most, because the likelihood of a fight between them happening isn't likely at all. But I don't agree with that course of action. I believe that it makes for very poor optics, a professional boxer resorting to this.
MVP banning her from any of their future events is enough, the way you would a common shoplifter or somebody who runs around passing out bounced checks.
That'll do it, and that's enough. There's no need to drag this out any further. No need to involve the lawyers. Some people think it comes across as weak that Alycia Baumgardner, the same person who said she'd be willing to meet Claressa Shields in the middle for a fight, is now lawyering up after she is struck, after she is slapped.
Doesn't really communicate strength or that you were serious about fighting her when you said you'd be willing to meet her at 147. So I would advise that you call off the lawyers and just let it go. Be the bigger person, because that's something that Claressa never could be. That's why she's walking into the VIP section arguing about some comments you made over a year ago.
I don't think Alycia, or most people, spend a lot of time thinking about Claressa's relationship with Papoose, his extramarital affair, whatever he's got going on.
She made some comments in passing, the way anybody else would when the subject is broached. She made some comments well over a year ago, and they stuck with Claressa Shields because she ain't got nothing better to do.
Nothing better to think about, but I say be the bigger person, be what she never could be, and just let it go.
You got better things to do.
Men's heavyweight news ahead of this weekend's mega match. Richard Torrez doesn't run from smoke. He wants to fight Moses Itauma. The undefeated heavyweight contender understands, though, that beating Sanchez in their IBF elimination match in Giza, Egypt won't guarantee him a fight versus Usyk. The unbeaten Ukrainian hasn't mentioned the Torrez versus Sanchez winner as a potential opponent for either of his final two bouts before he retires. The historical significance of challenging the 39-year-old unified champion naturally intrigues Torrez.
Yeah, even though it's not gonna happen.
Yet he is also open to testing himself against the youngest sensation in the division, whereas most heavyweights want little to do with Moses Itauma. Torrez welcomes that treacherous assignment.
At the risk of sounding like a fanager, a boxing fan who likes to act as a manager, I don't want to see Richard Torrez fight Moses Itauma anytime in the near future. I would like to see both fighters grow and become world champions themselves before facing each other for the benefit of the fighters, the fight, and the benefit of the sport.
I'm about that action, man. You know, Torrez told the ring. I think it's really cool what he's doing in the UK. I think that he's an incredible fighter, and I think that if we're able to collide and make something happen, it'd be fireworks, man. You know? Like, I don't run from the smoke. I don't run from anything like that. I want the best fights, and I think that that would be a really, really cool opportunity to have two English-speaking guys sharing a ring, being able to talk trash or whatever. I'm not that good at it. I'll learn a little later.
Yeah, Torrez is a good kid.
But being able to just be in that atmosphere, man, it would be something epic, and that's something that I would search for. Torrez respects the way Itauma handles his business inside and outside of the ring. He just wants to test himself against the emerging English contender who's ranked 6th in Ring Magazine's heavyweight top 10, 2 spots ahead of Torrez.
I heard he's a pretty stand-up guy, and hey man, at the end of the day, this is just business, you know, Torrez said. We'll get in the ring, do what we need to do, and if he wants to get a burger afterwards, we can. But like, I want to fight, and I love that competition, and he's looking like he's that guy. Itauma, 14-0 with 12 KOs, is expected to face Croatian contender Filip Hrgovic on August 8th. If Itauma beats Hrgovic and neither he nor Torrez can secure a shot at Usyk, and Itauma versus Torrez match might make sense. The 26-year-old Torrez, a 2020 Olympic silver medalist from Tulare, California, is confident his speed, agility, and endurance would present Itauma with issues the likes of Dillian White and Jermaine Franklin could not. I don't think you should be in the game if you don't think you're the best, Torrez said. You know, I thoroughly believe that I am the best. I think my conditioning has been able to speak for itself a little bit. I'm an Olympic silver medalist. I think that my amateur pedigree, my amateur background has been able to kind of give me a good foundation of being able to talk a little bit. And then, on top of that is, I mean, he is a smaller guy like me, and we've got that speed and we've got that quickness. He hasn't really fought anybody that kind of has that speed and quickness as well, and I would like to be able to throw my hat in there and just see how it goes, you know? And I think that with my feints, my conditioning, and my style, it would make it hard for anybody. The 12-round bout between Torrez and Cuba's Frankie Sanchez is part of the ring card DAZN will stream from the pyramids at Giza, which costs about $49.99 per month in the United States and £24 in the United Kingdom.
I'm glad that Richie brought it up, because I don't see most people mention that Moses isn't actually all that big a guy. Not by today's standards. He's on the more moderate end of the spectrum as far as heavyweights go, and Richie is even smaller than him, more compact.
Now, some folks might look at that as a disadvantage, that they're not as big as an Anthony Joshua, a Tyson Fury, or a Filip Hrgovic, but what they lack in size, they make up for in suddenness, in speed, in explosivity. You will notice that Moses has very fast hands and very fast feet, and to a lesser extent, so does Richie.
Speed is power. Speed is sometimes the ability to get in with a shot that the other guy doesn't see, quick enough that he can't brace himself for it. And it's the shots you don't see that take you out. Those are the ones that hurt the most.
Moses has speed and so does Richie.
But I don't actually want these two young gunners to fight yet. I would rather see them both become champions in the not-so-distant future, as Richard Torrez is already in line to become IBF champion. He's not likely to get the Usyk fight. Usyk, who's only got 2 more fights left before he hangs the gloves up, when he's gone, it's conceivable that so long as Richie stays the course, he becomes the next IBF champion, and in effect, America's best.
Best heavyweight we would have produced in years.
When it comes to Moses Itauma, he's in line to fight for the WBA title. Probably has to get past Murat Gassiev to do it, but I believe that he can. So that in a year and a half, these two boys will have become heavyweight champions themselves, and the fight between them would make a lot more sense, and it would probably be worth more money. They're both fast on their feet with fast hand and fast feet, though I think that Moses has shown more ability to not only box on the front foot, but the back foot as well, whereas Richie's limited to coming forward due to his small stature. He's a pressure guy. In many ways, he has to be, closing the distance and barreling forward
against noticeably taller opponents. The question is, can he actually beat Moses Itauma with that base style? It is a little bit too soon to tell. A lot could happen before it becomes about them, but he's got to come at him hard and fast.
Slipping and countering, rolling and countering, as well as catching and countering, since Richie would likely be the one that's coming forward while Moses is on the move. That's his best bet.
And that doesn't even mean that it works, but that's what he's got to do.
When the time comes, he's got to come at Moses so hard and so fast, Moses doesn't have time to think or time to react. We'll see what shakes out after this weekend.